The success of every business relies on accurate decision making, while decision, on the other hand, is dependent on data analysis. Machine learning allows organizations and data scientists to be able to build different models that will support decision making in an accurate manner. My name is Patrick Oluwadamilare Claudius, and in this presentation, I will be discussing about predictive modeling with focus on forecasting sales in a sales-driven organization. So sit back, relax as I take you through this presentation. And so this is the discrete data that I will be using, that I have collected to be able to base my analysis and my presentation upon. And this covers from the month of January down to December. It's the 12th calendar year, and so the organization produces 3 different products, A, B, C, and C, and this is the sales outcome on each of these 3 products at every point in time. Moving on to my next slide. And so my next slide looks at the key metrics to support data analysis and forecast based on the data collected. And so starting from the first one, which is to look at the sales volume. Now the metrics and the sales volume metrics analyze the total number of products that has been sold within a month, so as to determine if growth is being seen. So we look at how many products was sold in January, how many products was sold in February, and then putting all of this together, the organization can determine if it's making progress. So keeping track of the sales volume will help the sales team to know what is causing demand to rise or fall, as the case may be, and it would also help them to identify trends that may impact sales. For instance, the month of February is a month that Valentine usually takes place, and so organizations can look at the month of February, especially till Valentine week, and see the kind of product that is usually high on demand. And so if organizations keep track of these metrics over a period, it can be used to predict what sales will look like in the next year Valentine period. And then so the sales team or the marketing team can know exactly what to have in stock, because they'll be able to have data on what was purchased the most during that period in the previous year, right? So that's one of the things that that's one of the insight that the sales volume can provide to the sales team and the entire organization. Another key metric to look at is to look at the average sales price, right? So this describes the average price per unit sold during a certain period, as this will help sales team to understand what is influencing sales, and of course it will strategically help to adjust prices if they ever decide to maximize profit or to retain customers. And so what this usually entails is to say, okay, so what would people be buying at a certain time, right? So and at what price were they buying those things? And so if organizations look at it from that point, from that point of view, they can decide to say, okay, if people are buying this because the price is sold at this rate, right? So if product A sold the most because the price is say 10 naira, right, and then all of a sudden they realize that in the 3rd month or in the 5th month product A is no longer selling, right? So one of the key metrics to look at is, okay, so what was the product sold, at what rate did we sell that product during that period, and then we can look at the rate it was sold now. Maybe that's why people are not buying it again. So the average sales price enables the organization to know the price, and then it can make the strategic decisions as to whether to reduce this price or to keep it at the same level or to even increase it. So another key metric to look at is the growth rate. This metric compares 2 periods together, to ascertain the percentage difference in sales volume. So we can look at the sales volume in the Q1, look at the sales volume in Q2, and so that we can make strategic decision. We can also look at it from the Q1 of year 2022 and the Q1 of year 2023. What is the difference in this period? What kind of growth rate are we expecting from these two periods? Essentially, keeping track of sales growth rate will help the sales team to know their direction and to identify areas of improvement, and of course to be able to know what to put in place in terms of sales strategies. So if you look at it and say, okay, so in the Q2 of 2022, we're able to have about 10,000 sales, and then if we want to increase that same volume in if we then check Q3 and realize Q2 of 2023 and realize that we didn't get to that same, we didn't achieve that same target, right? So we can look at it and say, okay, so what did we do right? What happened in Q2 that made us to achieve that particular target? And so if we look at it and compare to the same event, the same activities in the Q2 of 2023, we'll be able to identify areas where we have not done well or done something similar. We'll be able to say, okay, so we need to improve on these. And from there, if we even want to grow the sales more, we then know that, okay, so if we did XYZ in Q2 of 2023, we're able to achieve great sales, and if we can repeat that same XYZ and even improve on it more, then there's a possibility that we will be able to grow beyond the previous result. And so these are some of the things that the growth rate can help us to achieve. Another key metric to look at is the sales medium, right? So this considers the sales channels, right? What are the channels where customers are really buying our product, right? So if we have our product listed on our e-commerce platform, maybe a website, and then we have our product also listed on major retail stores in the country, if you have our product listed on our social media page like of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even WhatsApp, right? So we want to know which of these medium are we getting the most demand, right? So if we are able to identify, if we realize that the most demand is coming from our e-commerce platform, then the crucial thing will be that the sales and marketing team put more focus in that area, promote that area, right? Because if that area is promoted, the area will continue to deliver the best result. That doesn't mean the rest of the platform should be neglected, right? And so because it means that we are making sure that we keep engaging customers in their best meeting point while we continue to develop other areas that we feel we have the potential to deliver our desired results, right? And so the next key metric is to look at a customer acquisition cost. So we want to this allows the sales team rather to know what does it cost to make a customer to purchase a product, right? So this look at the advertisement cost in terms of reaching out to customers. If we had to do cold calling, what does it cost us to do cold calling? What is the number of time are we using to convert a customer to actually patronize our product, right? So it helps the sales team and the organization to evaluate the effectiveness of their marketing and sales strategies, and of course to be able to identify areas where improvement is required, right? So this is one thing that this customer acquisition is costing. So if it is taking us a lot of money to get a particular customer to buy, if it's taking us 10,000 to get a customer to buy a product that will be sold for 9,000 naira, so we know that this is not the wise thing to do. So we can begin to look at reducing the cost of getting our customers to buy whatever we are selling, and that's one of the great benefits that can be derived from that metrics. We can begin to look for a better way to get customers to buy without having to spend so much on them. Now another aspect is customer life cycle value. So this metrics determines the worth of each customer to the business. So for instance, you have customers who come in, they buy little, but they just go around telling their friends and families, neighbors to keep buying, right? So if we have a referral program, we can effectively track customers' value, right? So there are customers who will buy heavily, but will never refer, um, will not deem it fit to refer other people, right? So with understanding, using different metrics to, to track customer lifetime value, we will be able to better improve and engage our customers. We'll be able to know, okay, even though this particular customer is not buying so much, but has the capacity and has always been referring other people who buys a lot from the company. So we know such customers must be satisfied at all times. They must be rewarded for their loyalty, right? So you also have, and then keep while still maintaining constant engagement, keeping them satisfied, those customers who may not really have the luxury of referring other people, but they buy a lot, right? So these metrics allow the organization to determine who get what reward and set of customers that is most valuable to the business, who should be given priority at all times, especially when we are dealing with scarcity in supply. Now, the last metrics is to look at the sales cycle. So these sort of help to determine how long it takes to close sales deal. And of course, it can also help to ascertain where challenges lies, especially the areas of bottleneck in our sales process or our sales pipeline. Right? So if this metrics is analyzed, right, marketing, the sales team, the entire organization can sort of know, okay, we realize that people are always struggling with payment, right, in our system. So if we can make sure that our payment system runs more smoothly, we would be able to close more deals. I remember I went to a popular shopping plan store in Lagos, and when I got there, I'd finished paying for the things that I pick up in the store. I then suddenly realized that I needed to I needed to pick up some other stuff in the store. However, it was quite challenging for me. I stayed on the queue for about 10 minutes before I could complete my payment, even though it didn't take me that much. Even though picking things in the store was quite easy and very enjoyable experience. But waiting for about 10 minutes on the queue before I could complete payment didn't really was not um, suitable or was not interesting, right? So when I realized that I needed to pick up more items in the store, I then realized that I then felt I'd already completed the payment, right? But the thought of going back to the queue again, if I go and pick another item, I will have to join the queue again and then spend another 10-15 minutes again to before that payment can be made. Discourage me from picking that. I just concluded maybe I will do it some other time, or I'll just go and pick it up somewhere else, right? So this is where bottleneck lies in that sales cycle. Whereas, and so if using data analysis, right, the organization can look at the sales cycle metrics to look at where bottlenecks are. For this particular store, their bottleneck lies in their payment aspect, right? Some other organization, the bottleneck could be in logistics, it could be in delivery. I remember there was a time I was selling shoes with my friend, right? So we are always, ordering for shoes from other countries and then deliver it to customers across Nigeria. And so, but the challenge we're always having is, especially outside of Lagos, we're always having issues with logistics, as it takes about 5 days to be able to deliver the items to customers outside of Lagos. And so most times customers place order when they have occasions, either they have a Saturday wedding or they have a party they want to attend over the weekend. And so, somebody just realized they have a Saturday wedding on Thursday and decided to place order for items. And so we were running pay on delivery then. So they placed this order for these shoes on Thursday, and then by the time we had logistic glitches between Friday and say if the shoe is unable to get to the customer by Friday, it means that If the shoe then get to them maybe on Monday, they will reject it because the shoe no longer meets their needs. They wanted to use the shoe for the Saturday occasion. Saturday has now passed. The urgency for the shoe has disappeared from their mind, and some of them have probably even spent the money during their party. So what they just do is they look for an excuse to reject the shoe, or they make themselves available. They stop picking their course, and so we were running at a loss because we would have paid for the logistics at that point in time, until we had to look for another way to speed things up, make sure that the delivery is done within 24 hours. And so we're able to improve our sales in that regard. So finally, in this aspect, all of the above metrics provide great insights that will help to review sales performance, support sales forecasting, and of course, build models, projections effectively. The sales team can leverage on these key metrics to create an effective sales strategies, and of course, streamline sales processes that will deliver outstanding business growth to the entire organization. Sales strategy, so strategy to automate forecasting now. So this is what we then want to do. So after considering all of those metrics, we then want to be able to build, our forecast, sales forecast model, right? So like I said in my introduction, sales forecast, the ML forecast model relies on data, right? So if a data is not clean, it means that our model will not be clean. So it starts from gathering data, which is the first strategy that I have here, right? So ML thrives on quality data before it can reliably and accurately forecast sales growth. Therefore, the need to maintain accuracy in our data gathering can never be overemphasized. Say data must be collected from relevant points, right? So organizations must look at where they're having interactions with their customers, on social media, on their e-commerce platform, or they have a physical retail store, right? So they must gather data from those relevant points, and this data must be gathered from customers who have had interactions with their product, who knows their product, maybe who have participated in their product at one point or the other. So this data must be clean to eliminate discrepancies or areas where there's inaccuracy before building a suitable model on such data. Now the next strategy is to work on the feature engineering. So this process involves creating new variables from existing data set to improve the accuracy of machine learning models. And so this helps by selecting relevant and improving existing features. So we look at what has been created before. We pick up, select relevant, and of course we select relevant features, and then look at the features that we already have and see where we need to improve upon them, and so that we can then use them to build a new features that will capture relevant and important patterns in the data set. Another strategy is to look at algorithm selection, right? So bearing in mind that ML has different models, so it's essential that depending on what we're trying to do, that we look at the models that would best help to do those things, right? So ML models comes with different strengths and weaknesses. Therefore, it is important to choose the right algorithm for forecasting, right? As choosing the right algorithm does have great possibilities of delivering better result, right? So it is important after selecting the right algorithm that we then train the model that we are building. So this stage ensure that the ML model is trained on historical data, right, after collated, and so that we can know that okay, this model can truly do what it has been chosen, or it has been designed to do. In this case, which is to forecast sales, right? So another strategy is to evaluate the model, right? So at this stage, the model is tested to know if it can predict future data by testing it with metrics like mean absolute, root mean squared, error, right? So these are key metrics that the model has to be tested upon, especially as we are using it to forecast sales. Now, another final aspect in this regard is to deploy the model to production environment and continue to monitor it. And so this is state at which the model is deployed to live testing environments to derive the forecast that we want to use it for. And of course, it is never done until it is done. So which means that this model we must continue to improve on them, continue to monitor the data for accuracy, and then we'll continue to see areas that we need to improve on it. The model must continue, we must continue to optimize the performance the model so that we can get better accuracy in our forecasting and prediction. All right, so in conclusion, organizations can use all of these strategies, leverage on the advantage of ML to automate forecasting process. They can use it to identify the relevant data to collect during sales activities, increase data analysis accuracy and reliability. And of course, you can use it to overall business planning. You can use it to improve the overall business planning and to support accurate decision making, especially in the aspect of knowing the data to collect from customers, right? So once there is an existing model, right, so the model sort of tells us where we're having challenges in our users, right? So because we have collected a set of data that we have now used to build a certain model, right, that we're using to forecast it, because we continue to monitor such model, we'll be able to identify areas where we are having lapses. Then we can know, okay, so we need to now improve in these particular areas of our data collection. So it helps us to continue to go back to the customers, know what we need to collect again, look at data that is not relevant, and we can get rid of it from our system and then improve on them. So generally speaking, machine learning is a game changer that has been helping organizations the likes of Amazon and several other e-commerce and retail stores across the world to improve customer satisfaction. The relevance of data predictions and building prediction models, modeling can never be overemphasized in the sales and marketing department of every organizations. And of course, it is still relevant across several other sectors such as the finance and the healthcare sector. I hope that this presentation has been very enjoyable. And so these are the references used in building some of these key points that I use in this presentation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Bye.